Okay, our 7-5 stuff. This is all about rhombuses and trapezoids. The first thing that I see here is that this is a trapezoid. It's got exactly one pair of parallel sides. And I also know it's an isosceles trapezoid. These guys would be considered the bases. The parallel sides are considered the bases. And so what I can do then is say, all right, these base angles are going to be the same. And the base angles on the top and the bottom are going to be the same. I don't know if you guys remember this, but what it works out to be is x plus 94 needs to be 180. X plus 94 needs to be 180 on the other side. So x is going to be equal to whatever 180 minus 94 is. What is that, you guys? Missing x is 86 degrees. Two 94-degree angles, two 86-degree angles. Now, in a kite, well, this kite, we see a 90-degree angle right here. In a kite, the angles that are across from each other between the two different length sides, bless you, the angles formed by the two different length sides, those are going to be the same. So across from that 100, so maybe you want to think about this as the top of the kite, the bottom. I don't know if that helps. So it's going to be the short way across. The angles are going to be congruent here. And if I look at what I have right now, the whole kite's going to add to 360 because it's four-sided. I have 100, 200, 290 degrees all marked in there. So my missing x is 70. I'm going to go on to number 4 down here just below. G. Now make sure you read the directions on this one, because that was the big thing I saw a lot of people not doing, because these were actually pretty easy problems if you read the directions. They just want the midsegments. Now in this, the base, and don't forget the midsegment is just the sum of the bases divided by 2. Midsegment is sum of the bases divided by 2. And in the case of this problem, I think we can count fairly easily and find out that E to F is 1, 2, 3, 4. H to G is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4 plus 8 divided by 2 is going to be, 4 plus 8 is 12. It's going to be 6. The midsegment is going to be 6 units long. And I can actually draw it in there. It's on the x-axis. And then I'm going to go over here. I'm plotting this other one. A03. Does this look right, you guys? Now these are, here's my bases now. So if I turn it on its side, this base is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This base is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The mid-segment is going to be, that's going to be 12 divided by 2. It's going to be 6 units long as well. That mid-segment, I can see where it's going to fall right there. So just make sure you're reading the directions. I saw some people didn't do anything on there, or just went at it and found lengths, and it didn't ask for lengths of everything. It asked for mid-segments. Some stuff on 5 and 6. The thing that I'm going to suggest on this 5 and 6 is just start by looking at it and say what's marked. Down here, what I see here is a pair of congruent base angles. I'm going to say that about this. I got a pair of congruent base angles. This could lead me to believe that this is potentially an isosceles trapezoid. Do I have other information about it being a trapezoid? I got one pair of parallel sides. And so these parallel markings, I got one pair of parallel sides. I just addressed both things that are on that figure that make this an isosceles trapezoid. Now the markings I see on number 6, first of all, I have one pair of opposite angles congruent. That could be quite a few different things. Let's see what else is here. This is interesting because it sure looks like it wants to be a square, but the markings tell me otherwise. We have to go by what the markings show. What I'm noticing here, you guys, is that these markings are showing me that I have consecutive sides congruent to each other. This XY and XW are congruent. Consecutive sides are congruent to each other. WZ, YZ are congruent. Consecutive sides congruent, two pairs of congruent consecutive sides. Remember, consecutive just means next to. And these two things are going to make this a kite. That kite is the only one that has consecutive sides congruent to each other. I mean, outside of they all being the same and being a square or rhombus, but one pair of opposite angles, two pairs of consecutive congruent sides. Turn it over when you're ready to go on. Again, for tomorrow, you're going to need to finish up all the review for sections 4.4 and 4.5. Now, number 7, it says describe and correct the error. The quadrilateral has two pairs of consecutive congruent sides and the diagonals are perpendicular. The quadrilateral is a kite. It does fit the kite definition, but I think it's actually, the part that needs to be addressed is that two pairs of consecutive congruent sides, I think this needs to be changed to say all the sides are congruent. Because that's what I see. They're not showing me the two different markings. All sides congruent. And then if I remember right, I'm talking now either a rhombus or a square. And I'm actually digging into my notes. A parallelogram is a rhombus if and only if its diagonals are perpendicular. With perpendicular diagonals, this thing is not a kite, it's a rhombus. Because all the sides are the same, not those two pairs of consecutives. Now when I'm going to number 8, one kite theorem that I do remember, and I was just flipping in my notes, page 218, that's 90 degrees. Kite theorem, kite diagonals theorem. The quadrilateral is a kite, its diags are perpendicular. Now, the other thing I know about a kite, and they're marked, I can put my 22 over here. My 26, I can put my 26 over here. Now let's see if we've got everything we need to answer these questions. Find the measure of XVW. I'm making a video, sweetie. Okay, not a problem. XVW is 90. Diagonals. XY. We labeled that one up here. And then this next one is just asking about naming an angle. Which angle is congruent to XYZ? It's going to be XWZ. These two guys. Angle XWZ across from it. XYZ is this one. The angle across from it, XWZ, is going to be congruent to it.